Oh, hello there. Welcome to News, Games, and More, IGN's daily live news show. I will be your guide today. I'm Damon Hatfield, and I'm joined by Stella Chung,
Hello.
Michael Swaim,
Howdy, howdy.
and Nick Lamone.
Hey, how's it going, everyone?
It's going great. This is a motley crew that's probably, I don't think this group of people has ever appeared together on a video before in the history of time.
It's the first of many.
I like to say News, Games, and More is like a box of chocolates. It really is. Happy Friday, everybody. We're just about done with the week, ready to sail off into the weekend. But we cannot do that before we talk about the news of the day. It is our responsibility. The audience expects it, and we're going to deliver to them. So,
Preach.
biggest story of the day. Rocksteady has finally confirmed the long-rumored Suicide Squad game. It's been 5 years since their last main game, which was Arkham Knight. Of course, they did the Batman VR as well in 2016. They've been working on this game for many, many years, and they decided to announce it with a tweet. Thought that was a little bit surprising, but they do have the DC Fandom event coming up, so I assume they are trying to drive interest in that, make sure people tune into that. Nick, I saw a bit of a reaction from you. You're a fan of Rocksteady. You're a fan of the Batman Arkham games.
Oh yeah, I adore a lot of Rocksteady's work. Arkham Asylum, I'm a huge Metroidvania fan, so Arkham Asylum scratched just the right itch. Arkham City, I also love because I didn't think you could make a good open world Batman game, and they did. And then Arkham Knight, not so keen on, I'm gonna be honest. I didn't like playing as the Batmobile and not Batman. But I am excited because they have a little bit of a break. I think great artists put out their greatest work when they have a little bit of downtime, get some time to ruminate, stew, and put something forth that's hopefully truly compelling. And I couldn't think of a better case than the Suicide Squad. Plus, the dust has settled on that horrible movie, you know?
Yeah, and Birds of Prey was actually good. I don't know if
Yes, it was.
Yes.
Birds of Prey was
So
fantastic.
good.
that was a fun movie. Stella, how do you feel about a Suicide Squad game from Rocksteady?
So actually, taking on that movie note,
Hold on.
I really
I think
would
you
like.
might be muted. We can't hear you, but we'll give you a sec to sort that out. Swaim, you can hear?
I can. Can you guys hear me?
I can't.
You
hear.
might,
I could hear
you
him.
might have her muted.
I
in
think it's
Discord.
just Damon.
Oh my gosh.
The awkward. I didn't want to call him out. I didn't want to call him out.
Damon is screening Stella, you guys.
I have unmuted Stella. Sorry. Please ignore
Go
me.
on, Stella,
offended.
please.
Ignore me.
He said, "Yeah, I'm gonna mute her on this trash take." But
Mhm.
no, but so the movie I felt like had a lot of potential, and I would love to see that carried out in the game, especially since you could probably play as the characters, and I really love Harley Quinn, so I would open any opportunity for that. So I'm really excited. I would definitely play this, like for sure.
Swaim, where do you come down on the idea of a Suicide
Yeah.
Squad game?
I actually didn't see the movie and could not care less about the attachment to the movie. But as a pop culture IP, just the concept of the Suicide Squad, I think it's just what the Rocksteady team needs. And I couldn't be more excited. I really think it's a great direction to go. Because, like Nick said, they have tried to, those Arkham games have this very unique, almost rhythm focused fighting. That was revelatory at the time, but it does get old eventually. They broadened it with the open world. There were some DLCs that allowed you to play as Catwoman, Robin, things like that. And they've never really gone all in, though, and Avengers is arguably following a similar tactic. Okay, what if that engine, but a whole team of characters and they each play slightly differently? And honestly, I can imagine what that feels like. And that is enough to refresh the Arkham formula. I'm all in. I'm totally on board.
Nick, are you hoping that this is like hoping it's an Arkham style game, just with now you're playing as the villains?
Honestly, I think the thing that Rockstar did with Asylum, I keep going back to Asylum because that really was the linchpin for them, was they managed to make combat feel good in a way that no other third-party action game managed to do up until that moment. And so what I hope they do, and I think they did something similar with the open city, making it feel like a world that Batman would patrol and, oh, look at all these Riddler trophies. I got to figure these things out. Like, they made it compelling. So what I hope they do for Suicide Squad, and again, this might be asking a lot, but this is just what I thought of because I haven't seen it done enough. An open world a la Arkham City with some of the swappable character abilities that you had in something like GTA 5. When I'm playing as Trevor, I could see what Michael was up to at any moment. So I like the idea of being able to hot swap between all of the members of the Suicide Squad. And I think that the Suicide Squad themselves are kind of silly. They're unpredictable. So I can already imagine the scenarios when I'm swapping over to Deadshot and he's like opening up a fridge and pulling out a beer and has like a dude in his sights and the sniper. Like I can imagine the funny scenarios that happen when you hot swap between characters. It seems to lend itself well to that sort
Yeah.
of world.
Yeah. However, a lot of fans online seem to be assuming that this is going to be another game as a service, sort of along the lines of Marvel's Avengers. I don't know where that's coming from. Has anyone heard any sort of rumor or official news about that?
Nothing specifically to that end. I wonder if that speculation might be in the air just because it seems like an easy way to make a lot of money. But that is,
Well-
believe it or not, not the only factor that determines creative work in America. It's a big one, but it's not the only one.
Yeah.
I think to Nick's Metroidvania point, that just
Yeah.
got me really excited thinking about that's true. Like the ability, sort of like Bloodstained, Curse of the Moon 2 just came out, and I've really enjoyed how switching between team members gets you access to new areas or special activities that only that team member can do. That seems perfect for this. I'm very excited about Suicide Squad.
Real quick, I'd like to point out to chat because chat's calling me out. They're saying, "How did you confuse Rockstar and Rocksteady?" I'm
yeah,
saying
it's-
I want Rocksteady to implement something that Rockstar really pioneered.
I
with
didn't think you
GTA
were
5.
saying they were the same. No.
Nah,
Yeah.
I just want to clarify. I don't want to get roasted, is what I'm saying.
Well,
You will
that's
no
gonna-
matter what, but
yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
the roast will happen no matter what.
It is inevitable.
Stella, do you like the idea of being the bad guys and the superheroes being the boss fights?
Yeah, I think that's cool. That's such a refreshing take. Like,
Yeah.
I love gritty stuff like this. Like, yeah, let me go beat someone up. That's supposed to be the good guy. I don't know. Let me be crazy for once.
Yeah. Nick, you keep mentioning Arkham Asylum. That's my favorite of the Arkham
Yeah,
trilogy.
it's my favorite too, for sure.
Because of the Die Hard rule. It just works better when you keep everything contained to a smaller area. I think that just works better.
I thought the Metroidvania mechanics in Asylum were the strongest because it felt like there was very rigid in its design where it's like, no, you only have this tiny little island and you only have this building. So if I think that like muscle memory works a little bit better in a smaller environment. So it's like, oh, I just got this ability. I remember there was a wall I couldn't break through earlier. So I'm going to go back to that because it's only 10, 20 feet away. Whereas with Arkham City, I was like, okay, which alley was this Riddler trophy down? Is it alley 4 or is it alley 7? Okay, it's this one. Got it.
You follow wherever the wind blows. Nick,
Yeah,
so you
exactly.
know.
It's built into the design. I did really like the Arkham City encounters though that felt random. Like when you're zip lining around and then there's like a moment where you zip line to the roof of a building and then Man-Bat just shows up and it's like, okay, I guess I'm chasing Man-Bat now. This
That
is
was great.
awesome.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
that's
that
so
was
good.
Do you think there's a reasonable chance this won't be open world though? Just because when I think of a big roster, something like Arkham City makes more sense than. I wonder if you could cram all the Suicide Squad members and all their storylines and all the heroes they'll inevitably face into such a small area.
Give me a Suikoden 2, but where I have to recruit different villains and I have to build a team, find villains scattered throughout the island or whatever city it is,
Sure.
and then I add them to my team. And then maybe there's villains you never even get to add to your team because you didn't look hard enough. I know I'm going pie in the sky, but they've had 5 years. 5 years. I'm hoping big.
Yeah, I think they're going to deliver something really big. Rockstar is really a top tier development studio. And they actually haven't made that many games. They made the Arkham trilogy, they made Batman VR, and then they made one game before Arkham Asylum, which I can't remember the name of. And that's about it. What do we think? So we're going to find out more about Suicide Squad game on August 22nd, part of DC Fandom. But what do you think this means for this supposed Court of Owls game? There's still supposed to be this Batman Court of Owls game from WB Montreal. Is that something anyone is still hoping to learn more about?
Dude.
I don't think I heard about that one.
It's been rumored for a bit.
Yeah.
There was like a lot. There was
Okay.
like a whole website full of teases for it, like of weird imagery. Basically, for those who don't know, the Court of Owls is basically the Gotham City Illuminati, and so I like the idea of Batman being like the city versus Batman, as far as like, oh, I'm a detective first and foremost, and then a crime fighter second. Like, I like that pivot. I hope that, I was really hoping it was coming from Rocksteady.
Yeah.
But that said, maybe there's someone else who can handle. I just hope it's a little bit. I wasn't huge into Arkham Origins. I
Yeah,
know
that's
I
the
forget
thing.
who developed that one, but I wasn't as keen on that. But hey, other people are capable of making a good Batman movie or a Batman game. Sorry. So we'll see.
Yeah.
It's a
I
great
think
story though.
it is a really good story. What's that, Swain?
Oh, I was just going to say, yet it's very reliant on, I mean, don't get me wrong, I love Batman, and the world of Batman is definitely a hefty chunk of the appeal. But the reason I can be so excited about Suicide Squad is because it's from Rocksteady. And the reason I really fell in love with the Arkham games, it was the just how slickly it was put together and the feel of the combat being so fresh and satisfying. So I do share that. I'm like Nick, I think I'm trepidatious about any other developer because what I really love is the game. And Batman is great and all, but you can't just slap Batman on something and it's done. So only time will tell.
Well,
Their marketing's been very obscure so far, so I'll grant that I'm not following a lot of it. Like parts of a badge, or they're just like, "Hey, here's this. It's about Batman." Yeah.
What would you expect Batman to show up in Suicide Squad, the game?
I mean, is it I guess I don't want to spoil Jedi Fallen Order, but I feel like this
Oh.
a similar maneuver. All
I
I'll
know
say
what
is
you mean.
a similar maneuver would make sense here and be really cool. Yeah.
Yeah, because the teaser that they showed, what looks like there was a bullseye on Superman's head, but there's also, I mean, there might have been some speculation that it was another character, like Bizarro. Is that right?
Yeah, Bizarro Superman, because he looks, kind of pink purplish. So it's
He's
like,
got
oh,
the
maybe
cracked skin.
maybe that, like, I mean,
Oh, its skin is so creepy and gross.
it would be such a nice zag if it's like, oh, you think you're killing Superman, but then it's actually Bizarro. Like that's fun. That's cool. I love when heists don't go according to plan. That's always when the good
Well.
content comes out.
When do heists go according to plan?
Never.
Ocean's 11.
True.
That's
the
true.
And
one.
12
Yeah.
and 13.
All the oceans. They're a good team.
I recently watched all of Money Heist on Netflix, and those do not go according to plan.
Ooh,
But very
I haven't
good.
seen
Totally,
that.
yeah, totally good. Totally worth watching. So these two games, the Suicide Squad game, and then Marvel's Avengers, which is out very soon, and you can play right now because of the beta. These are sort of two interesting counterpoints to each other. One where you're playing as the heroes, one where you're playing as the villains, and who knows, they might both be games as service products. Stella, have you been playing Marvel's Avengers?
I have not actually. I actually did not pay attention to how to get into the beta, but I know you can check out IGN.com for that.
I think it's I think it's just an open beta now this weekend. They opened it up a little bit
cool.
early. I was
Yeah,
gonna
maybe
ask
I'll
if
check it
anyone.
out.
Oh yeah, I was gonna ask if anybody plans on playing it this weekend.
Yeah, I haven't dipped in yet, but as soon as I found out, I checked last night and it was closed, but I guess it's open since then. So I'm going to go download it right after. I'm no longer using the internet for this.
I actually, right before NG Plus, because I was like, oh, we're gonna talk about Marvel's Avengers. So I had the beta downloaded. I hopped in and I was like, okay, I could probably at least play the tutorial mission. So I played a little bit of it. I got to the setup where it's like, okay, now I get to see where the game as a service model kicks in. So I'm curious to dive back in. But that tutorial, this game is gonna be very interesting, I think. I don't know that I 100% love it. I do really think the tutorial is interesting because it's a good snapshot of what every hero's ability looks like, while also being super cinematic and like set piece driven in a way a game as a service game like Destiny isn't. Destiny doesn't have these giant set piece blockbuster moments. So seeing them in a game like this is reassuring because it's like, oh wow, this game looks a whole lot better than when it first appeared on E3, 2 years ago. It looks very pretty. So seeing it in
Okay.
action is very nice. I am curious how they are going to juggle the set piece moments along with the game as a service. Like, hey, hop in, hop out, join with friends, and beat up some bad guys. I'm curious to see how they blend together because there's quick time events. So it's like, wait, how are you gonna do that into like a co-op game? Quick time events? What? What's going on?
Yeah. Yeah. It seems like maybe that'll be for the single player stuff.
Probably.
The more cinematic moments. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's encouraging to hear you say that the game looks beautiful now, because I think that was one of my trepidations from the previews that we've seen. It just really didn't look that impressive graphically to me, and I thought they kind of looked like knockoff versions of
Mhm.
these Marvel characters. But I don't know. We'll have to try. We'll have to check it out. Um, I don't know. Stella, do you play a lot of like online multiplayer games? Does like
Mhm.
game as a service, is that a like a deterrent to you, or is it something that the type of game you like? What does that term even mean to you?
Oh, see, I was gonna ask you to like define it for me because I'm very
Hmm.
used to like live service games. So service doesn't mean that you have to pay for multiplayer.
No, it's just a game that's like ongoing. It's as opposed to like The Last of Us Part 2 is a
Mhm.
single player game that you play through from beginning to end. It's over, it's done, you move on to the next thing. Game as a service is something you just keep, they hope you just keep playing forever. Like Destiny,
Huh.
Anything that
Overwatch.
comes in seasons.
Yeah, like
Okay, so
Apex
usually,
live
yeah.
service. So it is like okay, so it is like a live
Mm.
service Apex game. Okay,
Mm.
Yeah.
I don't know. I honestly that is kind of a deterrent for me, just because Apex it already is my live service game that I spend so much time in. That is the
Yeah.
one game that I've bought a battle pass. Like I've paid attention to all the seasons, and I know Destiny players are kind of the same with Destiny. And for something like this, I feel like it could work, but for me personally, for an Avengers story, just because of how they've built the MCU cinematic universe, I really just want like a nice story and just have that in like a series of games as opposed to one that you wait for a year and then another update comes out. I would
Yeah.
really love for them to like put out one game, then maybe another one, and have it be like a story on its own. So that's my personal
Yeah.
preference.
And I guess to be fair, in the case of Marvel's Avengers, you could just play the single player content and get that story if you
Mhm.
wanted to. Now,
Yeah.
Michael Swaim, what I've learned so far about your gaming tastes, favorite game of all time is Death Stranding.
Oh,
Right now, it changes a lot.
Today. Yeah. I'm gonna guess you don't play a lot of games as a service titles. Is that correct?
No, and I feel like I am a vintage enough gamer that to me, I mean, there's been a very checkered history as far as converting beloved nerd pop culture centric IPs at all to anything, to movies too, but games also. And then I think this is changing, and I think there's a fresher crop of games where games as service does feel like, oh, this is just the wave of the future. It's just a new delivery mechanism. It's the way it's going to be. But in between there, I do think there's a period that we're not fully out of where games as service is a red flag that it could be a cash grab, like a cash grab without a lot of passion behind it. And banking on a huge IP that we all love and cherish can sometimes be a cash grab. So I think no one wants to align themselves wholeheartedly behind something that turns out to be a hollow cash grab. That said, we've also covered all the great work they're doing with accessibility, and some of the like close-up clip outs and interviews from people on the team have struck me as at least there's members on this team that care about this project and are doing it out of creative passion. So I'm like cautiously optimistic, but I think Nick is the most positive initial reaction I've heard from
Oh
anyone
no,
on the IGN
I don't
staff.
like the game.
There you go.
I think it's very pretty. I think
No
it's
one has
very
said
pretty.
it's no one
Plot
has said it's
twist.
amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't feel good to play. It's so
Oh, wow.
floaty.
Oh,
I
okay.
wanted it to be Marvel Ultimate Alliance in terms of its chunkiness and like, oh, I hit a button and I can feel the punch sort of thing. And it just feels way
Yeah.
too floaty. When I'm playing as Iron Man, it feels so awkward to get someone in your sights and just
But
like shoot them down.
you said Destiny's not cinematic, so we can't trust anything you say.
Well, no, I'm
Well,
saying I'm saying that the moment to moment in that tutorial is super interesting because it is guiding you down a very straight path, but the path is very pretty and a lot of explosions happen on that path, which is nice, but it doesn't feel good. The thing that Destiny, I think, really, I would say the biggest games as a service that I'm into that I play, I would say off and on, Destiny, Apex Legends, and Modern Warfare. And the through line for all three of those games for me is that they feel good. No one nails game feel better than Bungie. You know, the Call of Duty Infinity War people know that Call of Duty is at its best when it's 60 frames per second and it's just fast run and gun arcade style shooting, and Apex Legends is in a very similar boat. It's something about feel. Like I wanna come back to a games as service because it feels good to play, not because I think, there's like, oh, I hope there's gonna be really compelling content in 3 years. Like I want it to feel good now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, there's a lot of previews for Marvel's Avengers came out this week, including one from IGN from Mark Medina, and none of them were particularly glowing. I didn't think so. Yeah, that's why I'm definitely like gonna wait and see what the reviews say about that game, which really actually kind of breaks my heart because I love that studio and that developer. I love the Tomb Raider trilogy. Nick, you were talking about how much you like Metroidvanias. Did you like the Tomb Raider reboot?
Oh, the reboots are so good.
Yeah.
They're
Right.
very good. Only thing I don't like, and the thing I was expecting, because there's a bunch of quick time events, as I said, in Marvel's Avengers, and I was like, what happens if I just don't press a button and you do instant fail? But I was like, because it's Crystal Dynamics, right?
Yeah.
Because Crystal Dynamics worked on this one, I was like, oh no, is Iron Man about to get impaled and like scream out in pain? Because that's the only thing about the new Tomb Raiders. Lara dies some horrible deaths.
Oh my God.
And
And
I'm like, oh my God.
And the kills are pretty brutal, at least in
Yeah.
Shadow. The one
Oh,
I've only
yeah,
played
they're
Shadow, but the
all-
kills were gnarly. Yeah.
Thankfully, Iron Man does not get impaled and scream out in pain.
Okay. Moving on to an announcement that should be coming for next week. Activision is teasing the reveal of this year's Call of Duty coming on Monday, August 10th at 12 p.m. Eastern. And I was just saying on another show I host, GameScoop, this week, that I just can't believe we're in August of this year and this year's
Right.
Call of Duty has not been revealed yet. Thankfully, it should be finally happening on Monday. Call of Duty news outlet Charlie Intel posted a picture of a wooden crate that they received in the mail, and apparently, there's a phone number included that they have to text to get the code to open the crate. So I don't know.
Oh,
maybe
wow.
maybe it's not a wooden crate. Maybe it's actually a metal crate that they can't get into
Oh my God.
until the right time. Though rumors have suggested this is going to be Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. Nick, are you a fan of the original Black Ops?
Oh, I love
The
the first
series?
Black Ops. I think Black Ops and Black Ops 2 were among the highlights of my high school / post high school video game lifestyle with buddies. Like we just loved the Treyarch Call of Duty games. I'm
Yeah.
curious to see if, well, it's not Treyarch anymore, right? It'd be Sledgehammer. I forget.
Yeah.
There's so many Call of Duty
Yeah,
studios
I know.
now. But regardless, I am curious. I wasn't that big on Black Ops 4. The lack of single player really bummed me out in that game, just because I do think Call of Duty is very good at being loud and silly and fun. So the lack of campaign was really a sore spot. Did like Blackout, loved Modern Warfare's campaign, love Warzone in Modern Warfare. I hope they continue Warzone moving forward with whatever this next Call of Duty is, but I would like a new campaign and maybe some like cool multiplayer stuff. So I hope Warzone is the through line that they bring for Modern Warfare, and then they just make more stuff around that. I'd be
Yeah.
happy if they did that.
Yeah, I think Activision has confirmed that this is going to be closely tied to Warzone.
Oh, great.
Stella, how are you feeling about this newest Call of Duty?
Wait, this Call of Duty is going to be tied to Warzone, or
I think it's called
yes.
Warzone Cold War.
Is that true? Or is...
wait, what? But
I
Warzone's a
think
battle
they're gonna
royale.
have the battle royale of Warzone continue for
Yeah.
Black Ops Cold
Oh,
War.
It's
Okay,
Black
yeah.
Ops Cold War. Apologies. Yeah.
And then I think that they're gonna, like, again, this is pure speculation on my part. I think the Warzone Battle Royale will continue for Modern Warfare through Cold War, but I think they're
Okay.
gonna make a new campaign and potentially new regular multiplayer to go along with Cold War. Maybe. I don't know. I'm not Activision,
That
clearly.
would make sense. Just because, like, honestly, I'm very tired of them constantly pushing out new content, like new games every year, and being like, oh well, time to jump ship. Like, I really liked Blackout, which was the first battle royale, which played more like a traditional battle royale, and then they came out with Warzone the next year, and I was like, well, what do we do with Blackout now? It's just sitting here. So I think that'd be a smart play for them to extend Warzone, especially since they've had so many seasons and so many like what's it called, skins and things that people have purchased. So I think it'd be nice to see that extended another year, just so players aren't like, oh well, I lose all my progress in this one game. As in terms of a story, I'd be very interested to see what happens in Black Ops Cold War. Do we know if this is supposed to be a remake, like a remaster, or is it like a completely new story?
I think it would be a new one.
Okay.
But if it's,
Hmm.
if it's Cold War, I guess it's set in the 80s.
Yeah, yeah, and there would also like I mean I don't know if it would be a new one because there's so much like established lore already with Black Ops where it's like, oh Mason, what do the numbers mean, Mason? So it's like I think that there's an interesting through line, and I don't know how they did it, but I think Treyarch really managed to do something interesting with the backstory surrounding Black Ops and its zombie mode. So I'm just curious, like I want silly over the top number 23 style Fight Club Call of Duty. Like that's just so
Yeah.
over the top and nonsense, and I love it. Give me
Oh,
more.
I know exactly what this next game is going to be. It's just going to be Gulag. It's just Gulag.
Yeah,
all over.
only
That's what it
Gulag.
is. Only Gulag. And ooh, I am excited though. I want to see what they do for zombies because that was always my favorite mode to play with friends. So
Zombies is
hopefully they bring
awesome.
something cool with it. Yeah.
Swain, do you ever mess around with Call of Duty?
Yeah, I'm a very story heavy gamer. Destiny is actually like a what do you call it? Exception that proves the rule. And I think it's exactly what Nick said so well. It's because it's just the bread and butter interaction is so tightly tied together that it feels good and it got me. But generally speaking, I buy every Call of Duty game, play the single player campaign, and then forget that it exists because my least played genre of all time is the overlap of FPS and competing online with other people. I don't,
Yeah.
not as interested in either of those things. And so, yeah, I don't mean to be like the anti Nick, but my favorite Call of Duty is remember in Call of Duty 2 when you actually felt like you were learning about the World War II and you felt
Yeah.
your heartstrings move, realizing this is real, like someone fought Nazis and died. Wow. I miss those days of Call of Duty. I don't want to see it become Fast and Furious. I
You
feel like we
right.
have a lot of those. Like for me, Call of Duty World War II was already. I was like, this has jumped the shark for my money. I become less interested in Call of Duty as they go on. I loved the Modern Warfare remasters because I think they were still trying very grounded, adventurous things. I love getting irradiated and then wandering around till I fall and pass out. Impactful single player story moments like that were always what it was about for me for Call of Duty. But hey, God bless you. More power to you, everyone out there simulating shooting each other thousands and thousands of times. Good for you. Go for it.
Yeah, I started playing the campaigns with Modern Warfare, but fell off somewhere along the way. But I'll be interested to see what we find out on Monday. Now, before we close out in Movie Land, I am a huge John Wick fan. I don't know if anyone else here is.
Heck yeah.
Oh yeah. And we knew that John Wick 4 was already coming. They've already set a release date for that. I don't know if it's gotten pushed back because of the pandemic. But now we've learned this week that John Wick 5 is also going to be shot back to back with 4. Both films are currently in the scripting stage. They hope to have John Wick 4 ready for Memorial Day 2022. So still a little bit a ways off. Like I said, I'm a huge fan, but the whole idea of John Wick is a little bit, it's not that complicated. Is there any possibility that we're going for overkill with John Wick, and that is pun intended?
That's actually the name of the next movie. It's
John Wick
Overkill.
Makes more sense than Parabellum. You brought up in the doc for the show today. It's not just that. It's a bit of a Keanu sense, and I love Keanu, and I don't know if there is such a thing as overkill with Keanu, but we're getting a lot of both John Wick and Keanu simultaneously. Matrix coming back, and you mentioned in the doc the Continental is going to be a TV series, which I didn't even know, but I know now. Thank you. And Bill and Ted, of course, revival. So
and Cyberpunk.
On the other hand, Keanu will one day age out of action roles, and maybe we should just get as much as we can while we can get it.
Sure.
Because I'll say this. They came and they said unto the people, hey, we're making 5 avatars. And I was like, fine. And they came and they said, don't worry, we're making 3 Hobbit movies all at once.
Oh
And
my
you're like,
gosh.
all right.
Ugh, yeah.
When they say we're gonna double down on John Wick, that actually made me cheer. It made my heart leap. I'm like, yes, that's the kind of movie that I would greenlight 5 of right now. Fast and Furious is in that camp too. The formula is there. They know what they're about. Go knock yourself out. I would take a few more for sure.
Yeah, it's
Uh,
not
yeah.
it's not so much about the story, right? They just, as long as they can keep thinking up exciting action scenes, I'll be there.
And new action scenes. Like
Yeah.
as long as they have things that are like the horse or the book, I'm in.
Or the dogs.
The dogs,
Oh, yeah, the
yes.
book. I forgot about that one.
Yeah, the dogs.
How
so
could
good.
you forget the book?
Yeah.
Death by book. Ooh.
Stella, are you into the John Wick movies?
I am, but I'm also very worried about like I don't want the beauty of John Wick to get worn out, right? Like I love it so much. The third movie, which was the most recent one, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I really liked that one. I was like,
Good
oh
too.
man, I've already seen like violence and stuff like that. But then I was like, oh, this is new. Okay, it's shiny. It's neon. It's very pretty. It's cool. But I'm just like 4 and 5. It's kind of like the Toy Story movies, right? Like I was like, okay, 3 is enough. 3 is fine. That's a beautiful ending. And then they came out with 4, and I was like, oh, do you have to? I'm okay with leaving it where it is.
Yeah.
And I think I was okay with 3 being where it was too for John Wick, but I mean, we'll see.
Yeah. You
Toy
mentioned-
Story is a good comparison, though. They pulled
Yeah.
that trick on me every time. I was like, there can't be more than one. That was
Yeah.
the big breakthrough CG movie. I loved 2. I thought there shouldn't be a 3rd. I loved it. And then 4
Yeah.
even, I was like, it was worth watching.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for
I guess
sure.
there
It's
can
like
be
really-
4.
It's like 3 would have been the perfect note to go out on for Toy Story, but they
Yes.
made 4, and it was also really good. So it's like,
Also
okay,
good.
Yeah.
okay, all right. But Nick, what do you think about Matrix 4? Is that something you're excited for?
Oh, Matrix 4, absolutely. But I'm gonna be candid. I've never seen Matrix Reloaded or Revolutions.
You've only seen the first one.
As far as I'm
are
concerned, there's
so
only one
pure.
Matrix movie.
You're so pure.
I
That's
take
amazing.
it back. I got to the desert rave scene and then I turned it
Mm.
off
Yeah.
in
But-
Reloaded.
Have you not seen, just as a producer, I know you'd appreciate the chase sequence on the
That's why
405 freeway?
that's why I'm gonna go back one of these days. I'm gonna go back and watch Reloaded and Revolutions. But I am excited for Matrix 4 because I am curious to see what the Plato's allegory of the cave for 2020 looks like for 2021. I think that the original Matrix represented this real breaking point in terms of entertainment and our relationship to technology. So I'm very curious to see what something of that caliber looks like in a post 2020 world, because I think that the Wachowski siblings are really they're really good at what they do. They know how to make things look very pretty, and I think that they have a lot of interesting insights into humanity and its relationship to technology. So I'm in.
Someone's seen Speed Racer.
and Sensei.
Oh yeah, I haven't seen
Yeah,
Sensei.
I haven't seen Sensei,
Ah,
but
me
it's
neither.
not great, but it's very interesting.
okay.
It's very
Oh, okay.
interesting.
that's like devs. That's how I would describe devs if anyone's watched that.
Oh, okay.
Not great, but very interesting.
There's a lot to like.
Fair.
There's a lot
Yeah.
to like.
Yeah, Nick, you should totally watch at least the freeway chase scene in Matrix Reloaded.
I'm gonna do it. I'm
It's
gonna
one of
do
the all-time
it.
greats. Unfortunately, I just checked. I don't think it's available to stream anywhere. You might have to. Rent
I
it.
have the whole quadrilogy on Blu-ray, so I'm
Oh.
gonna watch it.
Wait, how is it a quadrilogy already?
It includes Animatrix.
Oh,
sure.
okay.
Oh
Those are
yeah,
actually
I
pretty
want to
good.
watch that.
Yeah.
Have you seen the Animatrix, Nick?
I've
I haven't. I feel
It's-
like my
it's
anime
really dope.
anime nerd card has just been revoked.
The
It's
Animatrix is actually
arguably
good.
a better thing than the third one. I
I'm
would say.
excited. I am gonna do just a Matrix rewatch because you know what? I'm stuck at home and I have nothing better to do.
Yeah.
Invite me,
Why not?
dude.
Yeah, and it's such a bummer. The first Matrix is a perfect movie,
Mhm.
and then at the second one, I was like, I was so into the Matrix and so blown away by the action scenes that I was like trying to convince myself that it was a good movie. But then by the time Revelations is just like, oh my gosh, how far we've fallen.
Mm.
Um, And on that note, that's probably going to do it for us for another edition of News, Games, and More, another week of News, Games, and More. You can find a rotating cast of IGN personalities here every Monday through Friday, same time, same place, talking about the biggest news of the day. I hope everybody has a great weekend. Thank you to Nick, Stella, and Michael Swaim. Thank you to Red working behind the scenes. We will see you guys next week.
Thanks, Damon.
Yeah.